Welcome to evolutionary biology. Have you ever wondered how a single species can eventually split into two completely different ones? Today, we are going to explore a fascinating concept called interpopulation variation. We will look at how geography, environment, and time work together to change the genetic makeup of separated groups. By the end of this lesson, you will understand the exact mechanics of this divergence and even learn how to calculate it mathematically. Let us dive in. Now that we have introduced our topic, let us start with a simple analogy to build our intuition. Imagine two groups of friends who grew up in the exact same neighborhood. Eventually, one group moves to a bustling city, while the other settles in a quiet farming town. Over a decade, the city group develops fast-paced habits and modern slang. Meanwhile, the farming group adopts a slower lifestyle and rural vocabulary. When they finally meet again, they feel quite different from one another, despite starting out exactly the same. In evolutionary biology, this exact same process happens to groups of animals or plants. When they are separated, they change. Building on that analogy, let us look at the formal biological definition. Interpopulation variation refers to the genetic, morphological, and behavioral differences that emerge between separated populations of a single species. Why does this matter? Because these differences are the raw material of evolution. Morphological differences are the physical traits you can actually see, such as a change in body size or fur color. Genetic differences, on the other hand, refer to the hidden DNA sequences that code for those physical traits. When populations are separated by geography or ecology, they face unique survival challenges that force these traits to adapt differently. Understanding what these variations are leads us to ask how they actually happen mechanically. Because these geographically separated populations do not mix or mate frequently, their gene pools become isolated. If a helpful new mutation appears in one group, it cannot easily cross over and spread to the other group. Over many generations, the percentages of specific gene variants, known as allele frequencies, begin to drift apart. This genetic drift and divergence is a crucial step in microevolution. It acts as the vital bridge between a single, uniform species and the eventual formation of entirely new, distinct species. Now that we know how populations diverge, we must ask why this process is so critical to life on Earth. Without interpopulation variation, evolution would essentially stall, making the creation of new species impossible. It is the exact mechanism that allows a single species to survive across vastly different environments. Beyond basic biology, this concept has urgent real-world applications. Conservation biologists rely heavily on it to manage endangered species, deciding when to keep populations separate to preserve local adaptations, or when to mix them to cure inbreeding. Furthermore, epidemiologists use these principles to understand how different populations of viruses or bacteria evolve resistance to medical drugs. Knowing why this variation matters brings us to how we actually measure it. To study evolution accurately, biologists use a mathematical tool called the fixation index, denoted as FST. Conceptually, this formula compares the genetic diversity within isolated groups to the total genetic diversity of the entire species combined. Let us break down the symbols. FST is the index itself. HT stands for the expected heterozygosity, or genetic diversity, of the total population if all groups were mixed together. HS represents the average expected heterozygosity found within the separate, isolated subpopulations. If the genetic diversity within the separate groups decreases relative to the total diversity, the value of the fixation index increases. This physically means the populations are becoming more genetically isolated and distinct from one another. Now that we have our formula, let us see this with a concrete example. We're looking at two populations of frogs living in separate ponds, and we want to know how much their skin color genes have diverged. We are given that the total expected heterozygosity is 0.50, and the average subpopulation heterozygosity is 0.40. We chose the fixation index formula to find the proportion of variation caused strictly by differences between the ponds. We substitute our given values into the numerator and denominator. Subtracting 0.40 from 0.50 gives a difference of 0.10. Dividing this by the total diversity gives us our final answer of 0.20. Physically, this means 20% of the genetic variation is due to differences between the ponds, indicating a moderate level of divergence. Having successfully used the basic formula, let us tackle a more complex, real-world scenario where we must derive the heterozygosities from scratch. Imagine two populations of beetles separated by a massive mountain range. We are tracking a specific gene. In the first population, the frequency of allele A is 0.8. In the second, it is much lower, at 0.2. Our goal in this first chunk of the calculation is to find the genetic diversity within each specific group. We use the standard Hardy-Weinberg principle, multiplying 2 times the frequency of allele A times the frequency of allele B. For the first population, this gives us 0.32. Because the second population has the exact same frequencies, just reversed, its heterozygosity is mathematically identical, also resulting in 0.32. This sets up our baseline diversity. With the individual heterozygosities calculated, this brings us to finding the averages across our beetle populations. First, we need the average expected heterozygosity of the separate subpopulations, which is our HS variable. We add the diversity of population 1 to population 2 and divide by 2. Since both are 0.32, their average remains 0.32. Next, we must find the average allele frequency across the entire combined population. We add the allele A frequency of 0.8 from the first group to the 0.2 from the second group and divide by 2. This gives us an average allele frequency of 0.50. Intuitively, this represents what the gene pool would look like if the mountain range suddenly vanished and the beetles completely mixed together. Now that we have the average allele frequency, we can establish the total genetic diversity of the species. We are calculating HT, the expected heterozygosity for the combined population. We take our newly calculated average allele frequency of 0.50 and plug it back into the Hardy-Weinberg equation. We multiply 2 times 0.50 times 0.50. This gives us a total heterozygosity of 0.50. Notice that this total diversity is much higher than the subpopulation diversity of 0.32 that we found earlier. The mathematical reasoning here is crucial. This large difference indicates that a significant amount of genetic variation is locked up in the differences between the two groups, rather than within the individuals of a single group. We are now ready for the final calculation. So, we have proven our values for total and subpopulation diversity. This brings us to the final result. We plug our calculated values into the fixation index formula. We subtract the subpopulation diversity of 0.32 from the total diversity of 0.50, which gives us a difference of 0.18. We then divide this 0.18 by the total diversity of 0.50. Our final calculated index is 0.36. In natural populations, a value of 0.36 is considered quite high. This mathematically proves that the mountain range has caused significant interpopulation variation. The intuition here is clear. The complete lack of gene flow and the different environmental pressures on either side of the mountain have driven these beetles to become highly distinct. To visually reinforce what we just calculated, let us look at this diagram. You are seeing the exact scenario we just modeled mathematically. In the center, a massive snow-capped mountain range acts as an impassable physical barrier. On the left side, we have a lush green forest environment where the beetles have adopted a green coloration for camouflage. On the right side, the environment is a dry, sandy desert, and the beetles there have adopted a brown coloration. The black arrows show how the populations are trapped on their respective sides, completely cutting off gene flow. Above the mountain, you see the label FST greater than 0. This diagram beautifully illustrates how different environmental pressures, combined with geographic isolation, force a single species to diverge, perfectly matching our high fixation index calculation. We have covered a lot of ground today, so let us summarize the most important ideas. First, interpopulation variation is a natural and inevitable consequence of populations living apart. When groups are isolated, they face different evolutionary pressures and adapt in unique ways. Second, we do not just guess at these differences. We can measure them precisely using the fixation index, which compares subpopulation diversity to total species diversity. Finally, by studying these variations, biologists can actually track the early stages of evolution in real time. Understanding this concept is the absolute key to understanding how a single species can eventually split into two, driving the incredible diversity of life we see on Earth today. You now have a solid grasp of how populations evolve.